You hear a primary care doctor talking to a patient called James Porter. For questions 1 to 12, complete the notes with a word or short phrase that you hear. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
So, Mr. Porter, I've got some of your notes right here, but honestly, it'd be super helpful to just hear it from you. Like, how did all this start for you? What kind of treatments have you tried so far? And, just anything else that you think I should know.
Let me think. I guess it all started with some digestive trouble. I've been dealing with, bouts of abdominal pain and occasional bloating for a while. At first, I just thought, oh, maybe it's something I'm eating. But then it started turning into this more intense discomfort and cramping that would just come and go whenever.
How'd things go from there?
Yeah, it was rough. I was handling it as best I could, but the pain started messing with my sleep. I'd wake up in the middle of the night feeling nauseous. Then my appetite dropped, and I started losing weight without even trying. Eventually, I went to my GP, and they ran some tests. Turned out my calcium levels were high, so they sent me for more testing.
And what did they find?
That's when I was diagnosed with primary hyperparathyroidism. I was surprised it's not something I'd heard of before. The specialist explained it was due to an overactive parathyroid gland, causing calcium levels to be high. I didn't know much about it, so it was a lot to take in.
And how have you been managing it since then?
Well, they suggested monitoring my calcium levels closely and recommended parathyroid surgery as the most effective treatment. I had the surgery a few years ago, and it went well. The symptoms improved, and I was back to feeling normal for a while.
Did you have any family history of this?
No, not that I'm aware of. My family history is mostly clear of major health issues, so it was unexpected. They explained it's not always genetic, but it could increase the risk.
And what treatment was recommended at that point?
They suggested monitoring my calcium levels closely and eventually recommended parathyroid surgery. The surgery did help. For a while, I was back to a sense of normalcy. My energy returned, and I could get on with things again.
That's good to hear. So what brings you in today?
Well, since the surgery, I've started having new symptoms that I didn't expect. I've noticed some joint pain, mainly in my hands and wrists. It's not constant, but it's there often enough to be annoying. And I get this persistent fatigue. Even after I've rested, I still feel drained.
Fatigue that doesn't go away with rest is definitely worth looking into. Anything else?
Yes, I've also started experiencing these small muscle spasms. They're minor, but they catch me off guard because they happen unexpectedly, often when I'm completely relaxed or not engaging in any strenuous activity. So it's not just a twitch, it feels like my muscles are reacting on their own, even if I'm just sitting still. While they aren't painful, the spasms are noticeable and a bit unsettling.
I see. It sounds like your symptoms are manageable, but I can understand why they're concerning. To get a clearer picture, I'd like to start by reviewing any current medications you're taking. This will help us rule out any potential side effects or interactions that could be contributing to these symptoms. By examining everything you're currently prescribed, we can see if any adjustments are necessary or if further investigation is needed.
Sure, that makes sense. It could definitely be a contributing factor. I've been trying to keep everything as stable as possible, sticking to my usual routines and managing stress where I can. But despite my efforts, I've noticed that these new symptoms have been increasingly persistent. The joint pain, particularly in my hands and wrists, is there more days than not, and it really affects my daily activities. And then there's this deep, unshakable exhaustion. It's not just regular tiredness, but a kind of fatigue that seems to linger even after I rest. It's becoming harder to ignore.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of it together. I'll start by carefully reviewing your medications to see if there's anything there that could be contributing to these symptoms. If necessary, we can also look into some additional tests to gather more information, whether it's lab work, imaging, or specific screenings to rule out underlying issues. Let's take this step by step and see if we can pinpoint exactly what's going on so we can find the best approach to help you feel better.
Thank you, doctor. I really appreciate it. It would be such a relief to finally get some clear answers and understand what's causing these symptoms. I've been dealing with the uncertainty for a while now, and it's starting to weigh on me. Just knowing there's a plan in place to investigate this thoroughly and hopefully get to the root of it gives me some hope.